And Irene, you can tell she's kindred.
Yeah, yeah.
No, you don't either. We just get better.
Yeah.
Well, hi.
How are you?
I saw you not too long ago.
Oh.
I've got the graves of my mother and dad. I realize each day that I'm living, they're the best friends that I ever had. Although there must have been hardship, they always seemed happy and gay. The old house was not even painted, but seemed like a mansion to me. They told me the story of Jesus. I prayed in old Gethsemane, then carried that cross up to Calvary, and there gave his life for me. And let's see, that's 2 verses. I don't know that. Any gun we'll sing and our daddy would play. Then he'd tell me this, then he'd read from the old family Bible. Its pages were yellow with age. I remember the picture of Jesus. There were tear stains all over that page. And then that repeated.
Sing the chorus again. Well, I thought that the chorus was coming in there.
They told me the story of Jesus. I prayed in old Gethsemane, then carried that cross up to Calvary, and there gave his life for me.
This is one of those electronic things that got so much electronics in it. It's got all kinds of things about it.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
I've gotten some with
you got some with Leroy.
He's taking your picture.
I'll take one of him, you know.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, be careful how you talk. This thing's taking care of that too.
Quick, quick.
Yeah, see, you can come quick.
See, who's taking it? Is he good?
Can you get us all?
Hey, Woody, the top of your head don't look too good.
Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Say money.
Money.
I think ain't Irene and Gladys both there.
Push the flash down. There you go.
That's good. Now, come, yeah.
Are you leaving? This is really a nice place. That must be Harold Castile there making pictures.
I've got lipstick on.
Well, I did think you right. Oh, you just really just like driving money. Well, we don't choose. I have this little white. You can ring Hi, Henry.
Oh, excuse me.
I haven't seen you.
Just automatic. Look at her.
I don't know if it's going to make a good picture or not, but we're going to try it.
Leroy says, say money.
Maybe it'll make that light.
When Gladys was a baby, and the rest of them would be busy doing something, but Eunice would be packing me around.
Well, Lulu packed me around till I was half grown. I said, that's what's the matter with Lulu. She was so broken down. She carried me till I was such a big kid.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, my mom.
See what we can work out.
Well, your hair was dark.
Well,
They have any
messed up the whole house trying to sell it. We still haven't figured it all and look, and you can anticipate anything. Boy, if somebody wants to come and wants to come look, you got to do that.
It's nice to have a
So
So,
she just decided she
well,
gonna be there today.
yeah, I called
Said I had a picture.
Fred,
of
but
my
he ended up coming to me. I know the stickers together, the shop didn't make
And I
short down here. And,
yes, that's all.
And Irene, you can tell she's kin to
Yeah.
No, you don't. We just get better.
Yeah.
Well, hi.
How you?
I saw you not too long ago.
Bands, well.
Oh, y'all remember Grandpa Bellamy?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, he taught me to play the harmonica.
He tried to teach
he-
me to play the fiddle, and I couldn't do it.
Well, you'll learn that he didn't really teach me. I couldn't do it. But he taught me, first of all, to always swap it out good because he dipped snuff and we just had one and it was his. That's wrong end. See how good I am?
Great.
Pretty regular.
Usually when I do this, I ask everybody, I say you need to add culture to your life, and I told my grandpa taught me culture because he taught me to play a musical instrument, and I play this. And then I say, how many of y'all know this? And usually there's just one or two. And they'll raise their hand, and I said, yeah, you know that it's Red Wing, but when you and me are gone, where's culture going to be? 'Cause I wish you could tell. Leroy knows it too about this stuff. You spoke about the Bible. In view of a call, and the deacons and the pulpit committee had him all in there asking him all these questions, and he got all nervous and shook up, and they were trying to calm him down, so they were going to ask him something simple. So they said, what's your favorite part of the Bible? And he said, well, it's the parables. And they said, well, which parable? And he thought, and he thought, and he thought. And you know how hard it is to think when you're nervous. And so he thought, and just before they got home, he remembered. He said, well, it's this one. It goes like this. Once upon a time, a man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell among thieves, and the thorns grew up and choked the man, and he went on and he married the queen of Sheba, and she gave that man, sir, 1,000 talents of gold and silver and 100 changes of raiment, and he went on and he, I forgot where he went from there. Got in his chariot and was driving along furiously, and one night while he was driving along, he got his hair caught in a big limb of a big tree, and it left him hanging there, and he hung there for many days and many nights, and the ravens brought him food to eat and water to drink. And one night while he was hanging there asleep, his wife Delilah came along and cut off his hair, and he dropped and fell on stony ground, and it began to rain, and it rained 40 days and 40 nights, and he went and hid himself in a cave, and he went on and he met a man that said, come in and take supper with me, but he said, I can't come because I married a wife. And he went on and he came to Jerusalem, and he saw Queen Jezebel sitting high up in a window, and she laughed at him. And he said, throw her down out of there! And they threw her down out of there. And he said, throw her down again! And they threw her down 70 times 7. And of her fragments, they picked up 12 baskets full. Now, whose wife will she be in the day of judgment?
You got a good memory.
It had to do what Walker's been doing all their life. Since you begged, I will. And I probably don't sing the tune that y'all know because I sort of had to make up my own. I'll tell you about a burglar boy who went to rob a house. He opened the door and then he crept in as quietly as a mouse. He looked for a place to hide himself, so under the bed he lay. About 9 o'clock he saw a sight that made his hair turn gray. About 9 o'clock an old maid came in. Oh, I'm so tired, she said. She thought everything was all right that night, and she never looked under the bed. She took out her teeth and her big glass eye, and the hair came off of her head. The burglar had about 17 fits as he peeked from under the bed. From under the bed the burglar crept, he was a total wreck. The old maid was wide awake and she grabbed him by the neck. She didn't seem scared or frightened at all, but quietly as a lamb said, all my prayers have been answered now, the good Lord sent me a man. She drew her revolver and to that burglar said, young man, if you don't marry me, I'll blow off the top of your head. He looked at her revolver, he saw no time to scoot. He looked at her teeth and her big glass eye, and he said, old woman, shoot.
Church on a hillside are the graves of my mother and dad. I realize each day that I'm living, they're the best friends that I ever had. Although there must have been hardship, they always seemed happy and gay. The old house was not even painted, but seemed like a mansion to me. They told me the story of Jesus. I prayed in old Gethsemane, then carried that cross up to Calvary, and there gave his life for me. And let's see, it had 2 verses. I don't know that. Any gun, a widow sang, and our daddy would play. Then he'd tell me this, then he'd read from the old family Bible. Its pages were yellow with age. I remember the picture of Jesus. There were tear stains all over that page. And then that repeated.
Sing the chorus again. Well, I thought that the chorus was come in there.
They told me the story of Jesus. I prayed in old Gethsemane, then carried that cross up to Calvary, and there gave his life for me.